The cost of living in Brooklyn is nearly 20% higher than Staten Island. Some estimates say almost 40%. But what does that actually mean in real dollars? How much more are you paying for housing, groceries, transportation, and taxes? And is the lifestyle difference worth it? Today, I'm doing a head-to-head comparison of Staten Island versus Brooklyn, the real numbers, the real trade-offs, and which borough actually gives you more for your money in 2026. I'm Joseph with the Bridge and Boro Team at Real Broker. I work in both of these boroughs every single day. I'm not here to sell you on one over the other. I'm here to give you the real data so that you can make the smartest decision for you and your family. I've helped families move from Brooklyn to Staten Island. I've helped Staten Island families upgrade within the island. And I've seen what happens when people make this move based on assumptions instead of data. So let's cut through the noise and look at what the numbers are actually saying. I put together a free Staten Island versus Brooklyn cost comparison guide with all of the numbers from this video, plus a monthly budget calculator that shows you the exact savings at different price points. Completely free. Link is in the description and the pinned comment below. Take advantage of that. The $280,000 gap. Let's start with the biggest expense, housing. This is where the gap is massive. Staten Island's median sold price across all property types as of this month, $680,000. Brooklyn's average sold price, $960,000. That's a $280,000 difference. But it goes deeper than that. On Staten Island, $680,000 can get you a house, an actual house. You could have a yard, you could have a driveway, maybe a garage. Nearly 90% of the 2,600 sales on Staten Island last year were houses, detached, semi-attached, or attached. Not apartments, not co-ops, but a house. In Brooklyn, $960,000 is often getting you an apartment, a co-op, or a condo in a building. Shared walls, shared hallways, monthly maintenance fees on top of your mortgage. Let's make this even more specific. On Staten Island's East Shore, Great Kills, Eltonville, Annandale, the South Shore, the median sold price is $725,000 to $735,000. For that, you're getting a 3-bedroom home with a yard in a family-friendly neighborhood with some of the highest transaction volume on the island. In South Brooklyn, Bensonhurst, Gravesend, Bath Beach, that same $735,000 might get you a 2-bedroom co-op, maybe a small condo if you're lucky, and you'll have a monthly maintenance of $600 to $1,200 on top of your mortgage. For renters, the picture is very similar. Average rent in Staten Island is about $1,450 a month. The average rent in Brooklyn is about $2,900. It's literally exactly double. Now, the first thing Brooklyn people always ask me is, what about the commute? Let's be honest about it. If you work in Manhattan, the commute from Staten Island is longer because unless you're taking the ferry, you are typically going through Brooklyn to get there. There's no subway on Staten Island. Your options are the Staten Island Ferry, which is free and runs 24/7, plus a subway connection, or an express bus, or driving. For most of Staten Island to Midtown Manhattan, you're looking at 60 to 90 minutes door to door. From Brooklyn, depending on the neighborhood, could be 15 to 45 minutes by subway. That's real. That's a real trade-off. We're not going to sugarcoat that. But here's something else I want you to think about. After COVID, the way people work changed. If you're fully remote or hybrid, maybe 2 days, 3 days a week in the office, that commute calculation shifts dramatically. If you commute 3 days a week instead of 5, you're adding maybe 3 hours of total commute time per week. In exchange, though, you're saving $1,500 to $2,500 a month on housing. Over a year, that could be $18,000 to $30,000 if you put it that way. And here's something that a lot of people forget. Car ownership on Staten Island is essentially required, but it's also much easier. There's free street parking everywhere. There's driveways. There's no alternate side parking. In Brooklyn, between parking tickets, garage fees, the stress of finding a spot when you get home at 1 in the morning after a late day at work or whatever, car ownership can cost you an extra $3,000 to $5,000 a year in hidden costs, plus peace and sanity. Another thing, St. George on Staten Island's North Shore has co-ops and condos at $427,000 median, and it's literally a 25-minute free ferry ride to Lower Manhattan. It's comparable to many Brooklyn commutes. Now, add in, forget the free ferry, we do have the fast ferry. That's getting you to Manhattan, downtown Manhattan, Battery Park City in 18 minutes. That's getting you to Midtown, 35 minutes. It also now, as of December 2025, and now also goes to Brooklyn. It goes to Bay Ridge, Brooklyn, Atlantic Avenue in Brooklyn, and then Wall Street in Manhattan. So that's another route that we have. It's pretty cool, and it's just expanding. It's just going to keep expanding. Another thing, property taxes. Here's where Staten Island gets interesting. Property taxes on Staten Island are generally lower relative to home values compared in Brooklyn. But there's a nuance. Assessed values on Staten Island can be volatile. And if you want to make sure you're checking the actual tax bill, not just the Brooklyn co-op owners pay property taxes through their monthly maintenance charges, which also include building insurance, staff salaries, utilities. Those maintenance fees could run $600 to $1,700 a month for a 2-bedroom unit. That could be another $14,000 a year on top of your mortgage. On Staten Island, if you own a house, your ongoing costs are property taxes, homeowners insurance, and maintenance. No monthly maintenance fees to a building, no assessment surprises from a co-op board. Now let's talk about the mansion tax. Any purchase over $1 million in New York City triggers a 1% mansion tax. In Brooklyn, with an average sold price of $960,000, many buyers are right at that threshold to begin with. A $1,010,000 purchase is going to add $10,100 in additional taxes, additional closing costs up front. You're going to come to the table with that extra 10 grand. On Staten Island, the vast majority of purchases are under $1 million, so the mansion tax applies much less. Now, this is the part that isn't about numbers. It's about what you value, right? So Brooklyn gives you more walkability, amazing food, cultural diversity, nightlife, world-class restaurants, museums. You could live car-free. The energy is unmatched. Staten Island, very close to Brooklyn, but now you're getting space, like real space. You're getting a yard, your kids can play. You're getting a driveway where you could park, sometimes 2 cars. You're getting quieter streets. Neighbors you might actually know. You have the beach, right? The actual ocean it's 15 minutes from anywhere that you live on Staten Island with piers and all kinds of things. So in my opinion, neither one is better. They're different. And the right choice depends entirely on what stage of life that you're in. What I see most often is this. Young professionals are gravitating towards Brooklyn. When they start families, they need more space, a little bit more peace. Start looking at the numbers. They say, wait, I can get a 3-bedroom with a yard for less than a 2-bedroom apartment? And they're crossing that bridge. Again, 3 minutes to get over the bridge. So that's the conveyor belt. Manhattan pushes people to Brooklyn. Brooklyn pushes people to Staten Island. At every step, there's opportunity. So let's put it all together into a monthly comparison. Take a family buying a 3-bedroom home in Brooklyn, right? Let's say $960 again with 10% down, mortgage rates, taxes, insurance, maintenance. You could be looking at $7,200 to $7,800 a month in total housing costs. On Staten Island, let's just say $735,000 house, 3 beds, right? 10% down, mortgage, tax, insurance, all the same things. You could be looking at about $5,200 to $5,600 a month. It's about $2,000 a month in savings, right? That's $18,000, $30,000 a year. Over 10 years, it's $180,000 to $300,000 that stays in your pocket. And remember, you're not downsizing. You're actually upgrading. You're getting more space. You're getting a yard. You're getting a driveway. You can park your car for less money. So whether you stay in Brooklyn or make the move to Staten Island, the most important thing is knowing the real numbers, not assumptions, not what your friend told you, the actual data. If you want a personalized comparison for your specific situation, I offer free consultations. We'll look at what you're paying now, what you could be paying on the other side of the bridge, and we'll figure out if it makes sense for you as a total package for you and your family. The link to book is down below in the description, and grab that free Staten Island versus Brooklyn cost comparison guide while you're there. Take advantage of that. It's all free information. It's stuff that you could play with and toy with and just kind of really get an idea of where you are. I'm Joseph with the Bridge and Boro Team. I'll see you on the next one.